There we go. Hi, everybody. How you guys doing today?
Hi.
Hey, Tim.
How you doing?
Good to be here.
Welcome back again. And I want to start, everybody introduce themselves. I'll start with you, Amy.
Oh, hi, I'm Amy. I have a little YouTube channel, fairly new, in the last month or so, called ThinkerThemer. And I'm representing the thinker part of that today because my partner Maggie unfortunately had to work. But we look at games from what I love, the thinker perspective, mechanics, and she looks at the theme, which is what she loves. She's all about the story. Ew.
Oh, all right. Very good. And then we have Rob up there. Hello, Rob.
Hi, how's it going? I'm Rob, Galactick Kodiak. I stream video games every day and design board games.
All right. And Dwayne?
Hi, I'm Dwayne. Have a small YouTube channel called Blackboard Gaming, where I talk about board games that I introduce to my wife, whether she likes them or not.
And Chris?
Hi, everyone. My name's Chris from the Meepleoverboard podcast. And so my wife, Wendy, and I co-host the podcast together. And we also do a YouTube channel where we do a lot of playthrough videos and stuff.
Very good. And joining us for the first time tonight, we have Lena. Hello, Lena.
Hi, Tim.
Nice to see you. Thank you so much for coming. Go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
Sorry, popping up here at the last second.
Oh, that's quite all right.
Lena Cynics, and I run Three Gear Studios. We are a tabletop game room, and also we support some local artists here. So we do all kinds of stuff from learn to paint nights, and also role-playing games. People can come into our shop and buy some tabletop games and art. So.
All right, very good. And my name is Tim, and I own Meepleville Board Game Cafe in Las Vegas. Also run Dice Tower West Board Game Convention, and trying to start a YouTube channel as well. So so today I just wanted to have everybody talk about some of the things they were doing, some things they've learned, what kind of content they're doing, and maybe share some things with everybody else. Anybody in particular like to start?
I actually had a follow-up thing. I mentioned webhooks and stuff, like integrating it with Discord and things. I actually found a website that's better than I think it was IFTTT that I had recommended like last time we were talking about it. There's this other website, Zapier, spelled like rapier with a Z. Mm-hmm. It's like the same thing, but super, super streamlined and incredibly easy. I redid my entire Discord over the weekend, and it's like really, really nice. Anytime I tweet or post on Instagram, it'll put like the actual pictures and everything in the Discord in like nice little feeds. You can make channels where it'll show all of your stuff. You can do combinations where it'll pull tweets from different people. So say if you want a like board game news one and you want a bunch of specific places that publish different games, you can have it just post their tweets automatically into the Discord. It's really nice. I feel like it's a really cool tool for like community building.
Is that strictly for live streaming and Twitch stuff, Rob, or can you use
no, it just works for anything. There's actually, my favorite part of it actually is that I have one, they call them zaps on the website, but whenever I move a document into a specific folder on Google Docs, it will automatically post the entire document into my Discord. And so I can do newsletters and stuff like that. And so it's really cool, the kind of stuff that you can do with it.
All right, and one more time, just give the thing. So ZAPIER, is that right?
Yes, .com.
.com.
And I've just been playing around with some of the simpler uses for it, but I feel like it could be really useful in a lot of ways for a lot of people.
Oh, thanks for that. Yeah, I have to check that out.
Yeah, it's really cool. My favorite thing is like just going live and knowing that it's posting into the Discord, like everyone, hey, I'm live thing, and I don't have to think about it. It's just really nice to have stuff like that.
Right, yeah, sounds good.
So, oh man, I lost my train of thought just that quick.
I'm sorry.
How to pick it up.
So, I've been thinking about doing like playthroughs, but I realized I probably need another camera, like have one for overhead view and then one showing us playing the game. I watch some playthroughs and they'll be like kind of far off from the board. And I want to get like kind of more of a close-up look to the board. So, because the audience that I'm trying to reach is, like I said, people that don't know anything about these board games. I mean, I realize I'm also getting the audience that they know about the board games and everything, but like I said, still a lot of people that don't know anything about these board games that are out there. And that's who I'm trying to reach.
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Chris? Because you do a lot of playthroughs. How many cameras do you have?
So what the funny story about that is what we've done actually in the past, up until fairly recently, was this was my camera right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was just my phone, because phone cameras have gotten, silly good. And so we just had a little tripod type mount thing, and you're able to get these little, claw type phone grabbers in there. And that's what we've been using. And we've just recently been trying to upgrade. So we actually have a camera that we can plug directly into the computer. And one of the things we've been trying to do is make it so that we can have the picture-in-picture. So we've just been using a laptop, like front-facing camera for us, and then the one camera overhead for it. And then the other USB port, because we're limited on that, is we're trying to make it like a decent microphone, because we've never had awesome quality audio. And so it's just been a lot of fail and cobbled together type stuff. And this is so far has been the best setup that we've had. And, it's nice when you actually put 10 minutes of research into something and figure out how it works. And it just took me years to do it. Could have saved myself a lot of time a lot of time and stress in the last few years, but.
Well, that just goes to show Dwayne real quick that you don't have to have multiple cameras, right? You can just do it with one still.
Well,
Yeah, it depends
I'm
on the
still
setup,
working on the technology part, because like I said, when I first started doing my videos, I was just using the phone too. And I was like learning as I go. And like I said, I think the biggest challenge for me is time, because like I said, the day job takes up a lot of my time. And then, getting home, and I have to like really kind of force myself to like, okay, do you really want to do this? You got to learn this stuff, So I'm taking time with it, and I'm learning. I love it though. It is hard work, but I love it.
Yeah. I feel like I had a lot of up and down with that, because you start to feel that again when you actually start to spend the money on the tech. Like my setup right now, I have two computers. One does the streaming, one does all the capturing and running the games. And then my audio was the most recent upgrade to a actual studio mixer. And it's frustrating, sometimes trying to figure it out. One cool thing that you could try to do is whenever you're playing the game, just taking photos and then recreating it and using the one camera you have to do just flyover shots of just that setup. Because as long as you document each of the steps of the game, you can talk about it and really look at it and get down deeper into the positions and what they mean and stuff from different angles,
Right.
All right, real quick, I'm sorry. Don't want to interrupt, but I just want to welcome Marcus. Hello, Marcus. How you doing? Thanks for joining us real quick. You're from the what is that? That's the Orville, right?
No, that's Lower Decks. That's the new Star
Lower
Trek
Decks,
show.
Oh, I thought you were in the Orville. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Marcus. Let everybody know who you are.
I'm Marcus Ross. I'm a board game designer from Omaha, Nebraska. I've got 3 published board games and working on new stuff all the time. So.
Well, thanks for joining us, Marcus. Yeah, we're just talking about different techniques and stuff we've learned and what we're doing on our channels and content and all that kind of stuff lately. So let's keep going with the conversation. Just wanted to get Marcus in there to introduce him.
Okay.
I hate to go this direction as well, but I actually have found a surprising amount of workable components on Amazon. The cheap Chinese stuff is surprisingly effective. I needed a new capture card to use my DSLR as a webcam, and I bought a little USB capture card because I was it's $18. If it doesn't work, experiment failed, it's fine, but it actually is a surprisingly effective and like consistent capture card for like under 20 bucks. And for me, like when I think about capture cards, I think of like $150 to $300 because I have to get, 1080p 60 frames per second and soon probably 4K with the new consoles and stuff coming out. So it's like, it's surprising to even get this one and it can do like 30 frames. So like some of the webcams and stuff that they have might actually be pretty decent deals because most people want the highest end stuff so that it looks really, really great for production value. But if all you're doing is like, B-roll of the board game state, it doesn't have to be as good of a quality as like images of your face or you talking or going into detail about things. So I'd look at testing some of the cheaper options or maybe even just going older.
Oh, okay. Well, like I say, I'm learning slowly but surely. Like the camera, I have the Canon M50 mirrorless, and I'm learning. Like the first, I had got a I don't remember what it's called, but it was for the microphone, but it wasn't working. So I ended up having to go back on Amazon and buy another microphone. And this one was only $20. It was comparable to the Rode, I think that's what they call it.
Yeah.
And that microphone works pretty well. So I'm like, okay, I'm hoping my sound quality is going up better in the videos.
Yeah. It's surprising the stuff that ends up being like really, really, really workable. I don't think it actually takes as much money as it used to get into content creation. Like you just have to like know what you're looking for because usually it's like, oh, you need a thing with this one little secret trait that no one tells you is important until you bought 3 things that weren't the right thing.
Yeah, this camera will film in 4K, but at 3 frames per second.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
Oh, you needed T1743A. Like
class B, yes.
Yeah. It's like, what? Why is this only coming up now? Yeah.
Right. Because it's still all Greek to me.
Yeah. It never stops being Greek.
I feel like I'm one of the most technically impaired, like, I say this carefully, younger people out there. People are always, oh, Chris, you must be in the know of this stuff. And I'm not. I have scraped by on very little technical know-how. And I know Microsoft Excel very well, but, if I can't process my video through Excel, I'm looking stuff up on YouTube a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that I've learned that I find is pretty important, because I guess it doesn't really, if you can't have like a really high quality, and sorry about if you hear my cat back there, she's making her appearance, is lighting. So somebody had told me about these cheap lights, that are square. I got like 2 of them for like $69 off of Amazon. Oh, so you got the fancy thing.
I have
feel a lot.
Yeah, I have. I'll turn mine around. I'll show you. So I've got one of those. Let me see if you can see it. Like that thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Right.
It's like a big.
Yeah.
But I got it was like 2 of them for $69. And they were really nice. And then I invested in this right there.
Yeah.
I got a ring
those
light
are good.
as well. And I've noticed, because I've been reading a lot and also trying to learn, is that can enhance the quality of the video, because it just brightens it up and it doesn't make it as grainy and stuff. So you can sort of fudge the quality or the price of your video by just making sure you have good lighting.
Yeah.
And actually, we're very careful with the hours of the day that we film as well, because just the natural light, if it's too bright, like first thing in the morning it's too bright, or in the middle of the day, so you kind of got to get a feel for, or if there's clouds coming over, the lighting changes as you're recording, which can be really problematic as well for the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I like about that Canon M50 is the light adjusts, because I film in my basement, and I got 2 of those big lights, and whenever I can watch the camera, like when I cut the light on, the camera will adjust to the lighting, and I was like, oh, that's cool,
Yeah.
So I'm like I said, I'm learning my paces with it. Watching a lot of YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Lots. You can learn everything on YouTube, of course. You guys know that. So I'm learning as much as I can, with the time that I have.
Real quick, Lena, you want to check your audio? No, we can't hear you.
I didn't think so.
Oh,
There
now we
go.
can.
Oh, how loud do I have to speak into this?
Oh, there you are. There you are.
Besides the
Yeah.
on?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I was like, is it on? Is it not?
This thing has like
Technical
noise gates.
issues.
That might be what it is.
Yeah, because if you ever look at my videos, you notice I don't do it with my glasses on because I still haven't worked out the glare in the glasses
Yeah, I know I
aspect.
have it like in my
Yeah.
glasses. I kind of move my light around. But one thing I have is like one of these adjustable things.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
can clip it onto any table and adjust the lighting. And I accidentally plugged it out.
There you go. That's what happens when you start messing with the setup. It's like you get it right, and then you never touch it.
Don't
All
touch
right.
anything.
Exactly.
I like inch around my room all day. Like I can't touch it. Something will break.
There it goes.
There's so much tape in my setup. It's
Get
like
some boxes.
everything that I have taped together is like a badge of honor to me. It's like I figured it out.
One
I
thing
can't
I
tell
really
you-
like
oh.
is StreamYard. Like it allows you to put in different cameras into your video and even do it live. And so sometimes I'm super lazy with editing videos, especially when they're super long. I'm like, I cannot edit a 45-minute video. I'm just going to live stream Watch Us Play. And I'll use StreamYard to get the different angles.
Yeah, StreamYard is very good. And I just learned because when I first made my first couple of videos, I was using StreamYard and just my webcam here, and my name was still in there because I didn't know how to take my name off. And then I found out there's like a toggle switch in StreamYard. You just got to toggle. But again, it's one of these things. I'm not a tech person either, and it's like little things like that. It just takes me a while to figure out and learn how to do it.
I will just say so that everybody knows, like before getting into content creation, I was like a geospatial analyst in oil and gas for like 12 years. It's being a tech person wouldn't help. It's terrible regardless. Like it doesn't help. I still am just like, but I know programming. Why? Like it's
Everyone's figuring this thing out together.
Yeah, there's no school program for it that I don't know that any of us went through at least. It's all just making it up as we go along.
Everybody's in
what
Zoom
makes it
school.
amazing.
Everyone's in
Zoom
Zoom
school.
That is true.
And I just saw on Facebook how they'll allow kind of a Zoom meeting in Messenger. Have you seen
That's
that?
interesting.
Oh.
And I'm just like, okay, I guess they're coming in on Zoom's territory now. Facebook has got their hands in everything.
They're constantly trying to do the Apple thing, but they're so late on the come up that like everyone's like, no, that's just you copying now.
If you can't buy it, copy.
Using Zoom, just on the Zoom thing, I found actually quite a simple solution for recording like screen share videos. So my entire Kickstarter thing that I do each week is on Zoom actually, because you can just record, and then in the editing software I can just move the little version of my video into the other corner and make it a little bit bigger, and then it's just done. It's quite easy to do in like one take.
It's pretty cool.
So wait a second.
That's nice.
So Amy, I just want because I tried that on StreamYard and I couldn't see my computer screen. So when you're doing it, are you saying when you use Zoom that you can see your computer screen? But you said you had to move your face.
Yeah. Yeah, so I can, if you just share screen, but it captures it captures the screen and your video. Okay. So the share screen down at the bottom, if you're recording and you hit that, it records everything. And then if you're using any kind of video editing software, you can kind of just crop out the frame of your face and move it wherever you want. It works pretty well, and it's like fairly decent quality for YouTube.
Oh, I'm gonna have
Pretty
to
cool.
try that. 'Cause, yeah.
iMovie's also gotten really good with editing. So if I'm doing longer videos and I have no choice but to edit, I usually use my iPhone and then iMovie because it lets you do the picture in picture or the
Yeah.
split screen, or just like they added so much to it, even better music. So, and
Oh,
if it's a super short video, I use the program called Clips. So I'll do like things that take maybe 1 to 2 minutes long, and it's good for like TikTok or, you know, really short things. And I'll use Clips for that.
See, that's the stuff I need to start working on learning.
Yeah,
I've been avoiding all my editing.
Yeah, iMovie is fantastic for a free.
I just learned to talk for 8 hours straight. It's fine.
I have problems with live streaming where it's just a really long talking.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Like video game, that is something you have to learn. Like when you're playing video games by yourself versus when you
How
have
to
to
just
stream
talk
it
to
and just be
yourself about-
talking.
Now we're going over here. Oh, what's that? I think, oh, you know what? I don't know. I forgot what we were going to do. Let's go over here. Let's just do this thing. Like, it's just that for 8 hours straight.
Do you ever
I
catch
have to
yourself
look-
narrating your life where you're just like, I thought that we had sour cream in the refrigerator. I'm going to check behind the sticks of butter. It doesn't appear to be there.
I practice a lot of reserve during these because I am known to override a conversation with my just like constant narrative. I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to sit here for a second so that I don't do that.
Yeah, I think narrating your life is fine, as long as you don't answer yourself back. You know, I mean, I do it in the kitchen all the time when I got a lot of work to do, and I'm like, okay, I got to go over get this sandwich here. Now I got to put it on the grill. Don't forget that sauce over there or whatever. And then, but as long as you don't go, like, hey, you forgot the sauce. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. You know,
Yeah, fair enough.
You know.
Yeah, one of the things that I tried this past week since we talked last is I think it was you, Amy, right? You and Maggie, I think, brought up the fact about you were asking about how much editing, right? You wanted to do in your content. And so I started thinking about that. So I wanted to try to maybe see what I could do, things I wanted to do, but see how minimal I could do with editing, because inherently, the less you do on the back end, the more content you can put out, right? If you're not worried about, you know, chopping, cutting, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I've been trying to experiment lately and seeing how it goes. And it seems it's been going okay so far. Again, it's real new. It's only a week old, not even a week, but I guess it just depends if the quality of the content is good. I don't know what you guys think, but do you think a lot of people are concerned with the bells and whistles and all that other stuff?
I don't think so.
I think it depends on what platform.
And also what your audience begins to like expect. Like, because if you take a dip in the level of, like, I guess bells and whistles as they were, like, then people will notice. But if you've built up an audience that's more interested in like the straight to the point kind of element of your content, then it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah, I think it depends on the type of content as well. Like if you're doing an interview, Tim, you know, you're trying to convey authenticity and maybe you don't want to edit out all of the, you know, little bits of conversation. But if it's a review where you're trying to showcase a game, then, you know, you want to give it, you kind of want to do it justice for the designer as well by showing it off in all its glory. So, you know, that's where we're kind of experimenting with photography and video edits for that. So, and a lot more work I feel goes into that than if I was just to do a, you know, conversation about what I'm backing on Kickstarter is much easier for me. No,
true. But what I mean, Amy, is like when you made the decision, say, right, to do your Kickstarter thing, did you consider whether or not how much effort you're going to have to put in on the back end, even though it was something you wanted to do? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So I'm lucky because Maggie has a background in filmmaking. Because she's doing our review videos, you know, and they take probably around 4 hours worth of editing once we're kind of getting better at it in terms of kind of getting better at not talking over each other and making like clean transitions when you need to start again halfway through something that you're saying, which makes it easier for her. But I wanted to do the Kickstarter thing myself because that's more of like, she's not interested in Kickstarter. So, but I wanted to do that myself and edit it myself. And so, I was very focused on kind of one shot, clean take, minimal editing, upload.
That's how I try to work, because trying to run a business and then get all this content out is just too much. I can't edit, take hours and hours to edit anything. So sometimes, just depending on the platform, like I even use TikTok because it's just so easy for me to create something stupid simple and just throw it out there that's like 5 seconds, 10 seconds long. So I guess you kind of have to choose that platform that can fit your lifestyle.
Yeah, that's so true. Around a full-time job as well, it's like you can't be editing or else you'd never put anything out there.
Yeah.
And then also, I guess it just becomes easier the more proficient and the better you get. Because if you look at people like look at Tom, for instance, right? Tom Vassell of the Dice Tower, he puts out so much content. But if you look at like what he does, right? He does it's the one camera shoot right over his shoulder when he's like showing you the bits and bobs of the game, like to play it. And then there's like a little, transition or whatever. But then he just goes, and he's so good, he just does like a one take talk, right? He just explains the game, does one take. So you figure there's really not a whole lot of stuff he has to do because he's gotten so good at it all this time.
Yeah, Rotto's another great example. I mean, he doesn't have a big introduction coming in. He just pops on the screen and he just talks about the game. He might have the other camera showing him playing the game or whatever, but other than that, there is no bells and whistles or anything. He's just so good at just talking all the way through.
Yeah, and I think Dwayne, like, especially Rotto, that's a good point too, because he's like reaching under the table over here, reaching over there, so he's got it all set up. So he is doing essentially one take, right? But he's got the little things he could pop up here and here and here and here. So he's made it to a point where he can just do a review basically in one take. It seems like.
He's really good.
I love looking back on Rotto because it took him like 5 or 7 years or so to get an overhead camera, just like a stable camera that he didn't have to hold in his hand and shake around. I learned to play the original Brass from him, back when it's just called Brass. And I remember it was such a hard video to watch because he's just, okay, I got to go take a loan. So I'm going to grab somebody over here and then I'm going to go and do this thing. I forgot this thing. Dropping pieces on the floor. So he's like, excuse me. Hey, this is the view of my dog. I guess I grabbed my coins here.
Blair Witch.
Yeah, Blair Witch board gaming is.
Well, that kind of speaks to the thought that I was going to have. That it's like, so a thought that I recently had, a revelation I had, is that I started painting so I could eventually do my own webcomic. But if all I'm doing is painting pictures of fruit, which is, good practice, I'm never going to be able to like draw a guy fighting another guy with a sword. I need to start drawing the guy fighting another guy with a sword and just be fine with being bad at it. So I think that one part of this process is kind of deciding what you want your thing to be, and then being fine with the fact that it's going to take you X number of iterations of doing it specifically that way, and it being not good until you actually figure it out. Because you can't really make a thing if you're making the parts of the thing. Like, you kind of just have to make the thing.
Yeah, you just got to do it. Just like that fear, FOPO, fear of people's opinions. You can't have it, right? Because again, we're all new to this, all trying things. And what's the cost, right? If you put up a video that's a little choppy or missed an edit here or whatever, what's the cost? It's nothing. Just do it. And that's why, like Chris was saying, at first I remember Rotto with the camera, the one thing holding his hand and all that kind of stuff. And look where he's come now. But he developed his crowd, his audience. They loved him for it. They watched it and they stayed with him. And look where he is now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I subscribed to him a long time ago when I first got into board gaming. He was pretty much the first.
Yeah, because he has his own style, right? And I think, again, that's what all of us are looking for or trying to find, is what it is that we have. Like, why are people watching us as opposed to the next guy or girl or, whatever? Why did they choose us? And, we're all different, right? There's only one like us in the entire world. So we just have to give them that and then, develop our audience from there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of voting on hoping that people continue like seeing my wife, so I think she's the draw.
Everybody has something.
That's right. But speaking of that, I remember. So another thing is everybody doing YouTube as well?
I am slow rolling my YouTube right now. I'm about to actually start kicking it into gear though.
Because those analytics, man.
I don't get them at all. But I do. We do have a YouTube channel that we inconsistently put out content with.
But those analytics, because they can tell you things like Dwayne, like you were saying about, that they like your wife or whatever, because you can watch the tracking of like an individual video and you can see where maybe the audience dipped or where they increased or whatever, or how long they watched the video for. You can see the percentage and all that kind of stuff. So I think that really helps looking at the analytics. And it tells you even the gender, like it tells you men or women are watching it, age range, where they're from. I mean, there's so much you can learn about why a video is successful. And I mean, I just learned 2 weeks ago that it gives you a subscriber count per video. And I'm like, oh, I got this many subscribers from that video. Maybe people really like that. So the analytics, there's so much there.
I'll have to look into that.
Oh,
Is it just
me too.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Like what?
No, I'm telling you guys, and that's why. And again, I don't know everything, but but every day I spend, like I said, okay, Tim, I'm going to spend 15, 20 minutes, whatever, looking at an analytics, going here, trying to figure something out, learning, these click-through rates, impression, all what this stuff means. But yes, each individual video, you can see how long they watched it for, what percentage dropped off, did it go up, did it go down, the age range, the gender, it's just everything. And that really, in subscribers, because for example, I made this one video where I kind of tried to put video clips and music clips and all this kind of stuff, and I was like, oh, that didn't do very well. It only got 160 views or something, what it was, but I got 30 subscribers from that one video. So it may not have gotten watched a lot, but the people who did watch it, because that's a little more than a fifth of them subscribed from that one video. So it just gives you that information that, wow, this is really working. This is what's getting me the subscribers. This is what they like. So there's so much there. I highly recommend digging through those analytics.
I'll have to figure out which video of mine
now.
loses. Yeah, I'll have to figure out which videos of mine lose the most viewers. That's great.
I
That's
do
fair.
need to
And
go through that.
unsubscriptions.
I'm just surprised that this 5-minute video I posted about this one little thing in a video game has 6 hours of watch time, almost 7. It's weird.
Wow. That's fantastic.
It's crazy to think of how much time collectively people spend on these things.
Yeah.
It's, if you just imagine that as one person, that's someone who really cares about it, it's an interesting feeling.
I see that Facebook also is doing that kind of analytics for you in their creator studio. So
Yeah.
we've been kind of posting more on YouTube now because they do have an option to monetize your channel. I don't know how it works yet, but it's there, and they are doing more with playlists where you can create playlists for your videos now.
Yeah.
So they're also trying to get in on the YouTube game.
Yeah, they had a lot of migration from Mixer when it shut down, so that makes sense. I got a lot of
what is
messages
Mixer?
about their attempts to reach out to Black creators, but I don't have a a Facebook presence at all, and Twitch is going to be probably their major competitor for gaming stuff. So it's
Yeah, they have the gaming side now on Facebook. And that's one thing, when the shutdown happened, it was okay, we jumped onto Twitch, but nobody was really that I could see was on Twitch, but now everybody's on Twitch, and I'm just should we have went back to Twitch now? So it's we're still, most of our audience is from Facebook, and so that's why we started to just focus on that platform the most.
Yeah. So Lena, wait a second. You said Facebook is doing YouTube where you can monetize and put videos and all that kind of stuff with their watch channel? Really?
Yeah, when you post your videos straight to YouTube, not YouTube, Facebook, they let you name it, they let you tag it, they let you add playlists, captions, all kinds of stuff.
Oh, I did not know that.
everybody's trying to get in on the streaming game now.
Yeah.
YouTube, right? YouTube has a streaming studio.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then
Ah,
they
it's
also
wicked.
have a thing where you can live stream and put your products inside of your live stream. So and you don't even have to leave people don't have to leave your live stream to shop.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I've played around
Cool.
with a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
going to sell everything. Cans of soup in my live stream.
Wow.
You're like, I'm writing. You like this pen? It's yours. $9.99.
Ugh. Ugh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right.
The board game playthrough infomercial. I
Yeah.
don't think the world's ready for that yet.
Oh, they're coming though. They're coming.
Well, they're around the corner. They're already happening.
Oh,
I was actually surprised the other day because when I first started doing board game stuff on Twitch, like was constantly saying they really should just have a board game section, like a thing that you can put up for board games. And then the moment that I stopped doing it, basically every day they added board games. So now you can actually go on Twitch and just go live with board game, which is pretty cool. So there's a whole little category where you just click and you get to see people playing games.
I would love to do that. My biggest challenge is time. Just time. So, but I do have a question, Tim. I saw that video where you had the movie clips, and I think it was the Alan Moon.
yes.
I want to say, yeah. And I was wondering how that worked, like with putting movie clips or whatever. I don't know how the copyright thing works or whatever.
All right.
How
So
did that go?
I'm not a lawyer. I'm just going to play one on Zoom. So you guys can take that for what it is. I don't know. I watched a lot of videos. There's a lot of videos about fair use and copyright, and I probably watched 15 of them. And what I gathered, again, and again, like I say, it's almost there's really nothing to lose the way I look at it. And I'll tell you a little bit of story. But so I went and looked, and it just said it's okay. There was a couple of caveats, like you're not using it sort of to monetize, which I'm not necessarily. It depended on the clip compared to the total length of it.
Right.
And there was also another big thing where, like, for example, if there was a difference between like I took, like, say, a clip from National Lampoon where the car's going off the road, or if you took a clip from Star Wars, it says, "Luke, I'm your father." There's also, I heard people said things about defining moments of a movie is a little bit more a no-no than just a clip. So there's all
Okay.
kinds of things. But at the end of the day, like I said, I'm just sort of taking the chance because they do have a 3-strike policy with YouTube. And I saw about how they review it and do all this kind of stuff. And if you're not monetizing it, like a lot and doing all that kind of stuff, it's kind of no big deal. So I don't think it's a problem with what I did. It could be, but again, don't take it from me. But just to tell you where I did get flagged. So we used to do these things called Meepleville Live. And every week we used to try to get the community here in Vegas, and we used to interact and do stuff. And one segment we had, Grant and I were doing our favorite movies. So he got a clip from YouTube of To Sir with Love, because that's one of my favorite movies, this old Sidney Poitier movie.
Mm-hmm.
But he let it run in the background as we were talking. And it must have run like 5 or 6 minutes. I got a letter from YouTube for that. About how I violated their copyright policy for that, because I had the clip was running in the background. So again, I think it was because it might have been like 5 or 6 minutes. It was just running in the background. But again, it was just a little slap in the wrist because I wasn't really using it for anything. It just happened, you know what I mean? So they know the difference between you trying to really monetize, capitalize off somebody else's IP, or you're using it for something. But again, don't listen to me.
I got you.
They're really strict when it comes to music.
Yeah, music.
But
side.
when it's for movies, and like my sister, she has a TCAD 10-minute takes where she does movie reviews on YouTube, and she'll have the clip of like a movie. But yeah, like you said, Tim, it's really short clips while they're discussing the movie. So they haven't been flagged or anything like that.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I've always heard and seen it as like results from friends who do a lot of YouTube, it's just like as long as it's transformative, where it's like if a person could, if at any point a person could just start watching your video from that point, and then it takes them more than a few seconds to realize they're not just watching the movie, then the clip is probably too long. Like that's the thing. It's like it needs to be just a super small like nugget where you can almost barely tell where it came from.
Yeah, that was another thing. Yeah, there's all these, and again, like I said, you guys know how YouTube is, right? You can watch 15 different videos and you'll hear 15 different things. So I watched a lot, and and again, I took the chance. I don't know. I don't think I'm doing anything nefarious. So
Right.
if they tell me no, they tell me no. But it was one of those things I wanted to do. I wanted to try, and I just gave it a try. And again, like I went back before. What have we got to lose, right? That's what's so great about YouTube. Just just do it.
Starting out, they can't really take anything from you, so.
That's right. You can't demonetize me because I'm not making any.
Yeah, keep your 3 cents. I mean,
I don't even have that.
So one of the YouTube channels that I absolutely love, is it's a music analysis program called I think it's the name of the guy is Rick Beato. Yeah, I think that's just the name of his YouTube channel, Rick Beato. It's like
a producer, a music producer.
He's the music producer, and he has worked in studios for like all of his life, all of his career, and so he has access to all of these master tapes, and he'll talk about why songs are excellent. He'll break them down, and he has the whole, he has like the 8-track, the 12-track, the 700-track setup, and he'll fade things in and out. He'll say, listen to this, right? And he'll break down different sections of songs and whatnot. But I know for a fact that there's certain things that he doesn't touch on his channel because certain people who own rights to certain types of music are more what's the term? Litigious?
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 yeah, litigious.
Yeah. Some of them are a little bit more, trigger happy to try and shut down channels and stuff. And so he has this series called like the best top 10 piano introductions to rock songs ever. And a lot of them they'll have some guest musician come in and play them, whatever. And they were playing Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. And he says, okay, we're going to talk about why this one's great. And my friend here, Johnny Slaps a lot on the piano, is going to play it wrong on purpose so we don't get sued. And you hear someone playing Bohemian Rhapsody, dun 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 dun. They know they just change it enough, and I can't get sued, I guess.
So it's kind of like McDowell's and McDonald's.
That's right. Coming to America. That's right.
Yeah. 2 Wolf beef patty, secret sauce, and no sesame seeds on the bun.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know when I used to do entertaining and stuff, and like kids parties or whatever, and the costume characters, there was a certain thing where like 7 things or something had to be different. Like for if you were Barney the dinosaur, it could be like a different color purple, or when, like you have a couple of things that are different to change it. I think there was something like that.
Tell us more about your secret history, Tim. How many times were you Army the dinosaur?
Ari.
That's not his name. His name's not Barney. No,
I said Blarmy.
Oh, Blarmy.
Blarmy, the off purple dinosaur.
Blarmy, the off purple dinosaur. Yeah.
That's hilarious. So that was the reason I asked, because my last video I did like my top 5 board games where you play as the villain, and I consider putting clips of like, as soon as I say let's talk about our top 5, and then you have a clip of Mr. Burns saying excellent, and then keep going. Yeah. And I was like, well, I wonder if I could actually do that.
Yeah, so that sounds like a thing that somebody would do, and it would be fun.
Yeah, it sounds like.
Yeah, and again, what have you got to lose, Dwayne? Give it a try. They'll send you if I can find it, I'll email it to you guys. The letter I got, I might have trashed it or whatever, but it was just a nice little letter that said, stop. You might have violated the policy. There's a warning. Don't do it, and that was it.
Oh, okay.
So here's a question for everybody. And this actually relates to, recently started streaming this one new game, Genshin Impact, which is like kind of taking over Twitch right now. It's like this weird, crazy anime thing. But it reminds a lot of people of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which came out like 2 years ago now, I guess. Speaking of the whole copyright thing, like at what point do you guys as individuals see like a product come out, or say like a board game, and then notice similarities like thematically or like presentationally to other games, and have that actually negatively impact your perception of the new thing? Like, is that a common feeling? Because I don't feel like I ever really feel that about, oh, that's just a ripoff, so I don't care, you know? I never really get to that point with most things.
In board games, it's almost encouraged. It's like that was one guy's interpretation of a new idea, and then everybody does their take on it. They'll change the theme, or they'll add some more mechanics, and you get a different game. It's like, if you like Dominion, you'll really like Star Realms.
Yeah.
For instance.
They can do different concepts of board games and smash them together and see what happens.
Yeah. It'd be so sad if there could be no worker placement games after Kalis, because they got an 86-year copyright, you know, and you're like, well, worker placement games aren't for me, I guess.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. When I started designing, like, people were like, you can't copyright a mechanic, make something weird. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And like my current thing is like a roll and write fighting game, like about like kung fu moves. And it's like, it's interesting, like how the conversations are different between the different mediums, because in video games, like this game looks like this other game. It's like the greatest insult you could like throw at it sometimes. And it's weird.
I think, well, people try, and Marcus, I think you can speak the best out of this. People sell games by saying, hey, do you like Dominion and Azul? Well, you'll like my game.
That's absolutely,
yeah.
That's absolutely how designers sell to publishers.
Yeah.
For that much.
Yeah.
And that's even how I think people sell to buyers. You know, they say, hey, do you really like this immensely popular? Do you like Wingspan? Yeah. Oh, then, you know, please try my game, you know, Birdhouse, Bird 3, Birdening.
Wow.
Definitely interesting how the different communities kind of read it. Like, because
I think the original designers still get a lot of credit in board gaming, though. They still get mentioned, and you know, it's like, okay, polyomino tiles, it's like, you know, you always credit the right person, the right game. You know, you're talking about Dominion, like there's a respect built in, I think.
Yeah. But not only that, I think it's the same thing for the consumer too, right, Amy? Because if you like, I don't know how they in Australia, but like here in America, they'll have like a furniture row, you know, like they'll have like one street and there'll be like 5 furniture stores, or one street and there's like 10 car dealerships. So what I'm trying to say, I think it's the same thing with board games, right? Because why wouldn't, like, it only helps the consumer if I'm like, oh, I love worker placement. That has worker placement. I'm probably going to love that. It has this and that. You know what I mean? So I think it just helps that we know that a lot of games have similarities and stuff.
It makes me feel like less of a crazy person, because I'm like, I don't see the problem with a great game getting more great games made based on how great it was. Like,
and pushing the mechanic too, like just pushing it into new places and like, let's make this the best it can possibly be.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if there's a little bit of difference, right? Because, for example, worker placements is my favorite mechanic. And when I played Anachrony, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Anachrony, if anybody's familiar with it.
Love it.
But that was so cool, because I had never played a worker placement where it makes sense. You put your workers to work, and then they get tired. So you know what I mean?
You put them to sleep.
That was like so cool. And you know what? So again, it was the same worker placement mechanic, but it did something that I had never seen before. So it was like really cool.
Yeah.
I think they do that in Above and Below also.
Oh, do they? I've never played that.
Yeah, Above and Below, you send your workers out and then they're tired.
Oh.
But you have to have a number of beds for them to be able to rest, or they stay tired. You know?
I slept on a stone floor. I'm not working today. All right, fair.
There's a game called Village where your workers live their entire lives, and then when they die, you put them in the ledger for the town.
That's what I was just about to ask if anyone knew that game, because I could not remember what the actual name of it was.
It's called Village.
Village, okay.
But on the reverse, because sometimes, like, with, for example, Agricola, right? Because that was the first one I played where you had to feed your people. And a lot of times it could sometimes be bad on the other end, because sometimes people say, oh, I hate that mechanic. Why do you have to always feed your people? Why do you have to, you know what I mean? Some people were getting annoyed with that, because sometimes the game, if it didn't really work, but was just there because it was work for Agricola, you know what I mean? They just stuck in that kind of thing.
Yeah. It can kind of ruin a mechanic when it feels like they just stuck it in because, hey, we can toss another thing in there really quick. Yeah.
Right.
Or just to make it more complex.
It's funny. One of my favorite worker placement games is Zolkin. The one with the gears and everything. And I would say most worker placement games, if you have the option to try and get more workers to take more actions, fantastic, right? Not Zolkin. You can hamper yourself so hard because you have to feed those guys. And if you're not, and it costs even food to put them out into workspaces. So if you got 6 guys, it costs so much just to put them out. And you say, I'd rather not have them.
Corn.
Yeah. No, it's fun when, like everyone's saying, like when you find some way to push it into a new area, and it could be feed your workers, it could be not feed your workers, but let's take it in a new direction, make it something even better. And I love that about board gaming.
Like Feast for Odin, where you're paying your workers or you're paying your guys, but with tiles that you have a trade-off between placing them on your board or using them as food. And so, there's another play on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Amy, I recently watched, I think it was your review of The Magnificent.
Yeah, yes. I watched that too.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That's 2 views.
And I think that you said that A Feast for Odin is one of your favorite games. Is that correct?
It is my favorite. It's actually the point where Maggie and I overlap with theme and mechanics, and it's perfection in my eyes. I love that game.
You two are very smart. I just wanted to make sure to be able to say that and put that out there. Very good.
It's your favorite game, isn't it?
It's like a top 3 game for us.
Top 3, yeah. It's so exciting. I love the games where towards the end you're just standing up and you're like, everyone's staring down, like it's so tight. It always feels like you don't have enough time. I love that.
Okay, now Amy, you're the thinker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because maybe you can answer for Maggie then.
Okay, I'll try.
I don't get the polyomino. So if she's the real themer and you said you're overlapping because it's your favorite, explain that theme to me.
The theme. Well, you're collecting things along the way, aren't you? You're collecting items on your journeys when you're going out and pillaging, and when you're killing animals. I feel like it's way more integrated than other polyomino tile games, actually, because at least you're going out and doing things and bringing home your rewards, which then live on your board and help cover up those.
You gotta have someone to throw the pillage.
No, right? Somebody explain that to me, but I don't. So you have to store them. So making them have to fit is is that it? That you just have to make them fit in a storage house?
Yeah, I don't know about the fitting bit.
I think it's like certain things.
But I don't care. So yeah,
the Vikings were known. Yeah. The Vikings historically, they were absolutely known, Tim. No doubt about it. They just would take their big shirts and lay it out in the fields and be like, 10 victory points. 10 victory points for Olaf.
You gotta chop the deer into the perfect T shape.
I played that game. So I show my wife board games to try to bring her up, but I also have a board game group who is trying to bring me up, and I played Feast of Odin with them once, and it was a lot, but I loved it, but it was a lot to take in. I'm like, okay, this is a lot of stuff to pay attention to.
What was the level of game the rest of these people had played? What was their most gamery game before you got there?
Throwing them in the deep end. That's what it sounds like.
They play what's that one? City on the Big Shoulders. They play Pipeline.
Oh, that's heavy.
They played some games. Okay. Never mind. It's like, for me, I'm like, if I try to take my family, Black people, who like the most obscure game they played is Careers, and I plop down Feast for Odin. I'm not getting them back.
We go home. Sorry, Marcus.
Bring out dominoes, Marcus. What is this game?
Exactly my point.
The only time I ever successfully got my parents to play like a more complex board game is when it was still basically just poker. Like basically just them bluffing and lying to each other. Like that's all they could really get behind.
Oh man.
I like to introduce like those kind of more gateway games that are simple and easy to learn. Things that are like Dungeon Mayhem has been really popular in the shop, and it's so fast, it's so easy. I haven't found anyone who didn't like Dungeon Mayhem.
Yeah.
So things like that, and even like Patchwork. I really like that
Patchwork.
one.
Yeah, Patchwork is
fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, Tim loves Patchwork, don't you, Tim?
Yes, yeah. Patchwork. It's just such a good game. When that first came out, I fell in love with it instantly. I thought it was really, really good. And wasn't Uwe Rosenberg? Wasn't he the first one to bring the polyomino?
I believe so. Mm. And it's a rondelle. God, I love a rondelle.
It's true.
I mean,
if a feast for Odin really is a feast, then Patchwork is kind of like the midnight snack for Odin.
That's true.
The ham sandwich for Odin.
Isn't that the lure of Feast for Odin? That it's just Agricola and Patchwork mixed together?
All right, Rob, I'm kicking you off the channel. It's Agricola.
Agricola. Whatever.
No, not whatever. Get out of here.
I say things wrong as happily and as confidently as I decide. You can't stop me. I do it all day long. I mispronounce words just to get that one person in chat to say something.
I actually had someone tell me it's Agricola. I'm like, okay.
And then you blow the big horn.
So, I mean, that's like, speaking of introducing, so my favorite game is Everdell.
Oh yeah.
Because I felt like Everdell it's kind of like that next step game that introduces worker placement, introduces resource management, and introduces tableau building, all that stuff, but in a very approachable theme of you're playing as forest critters. And when people like that game, then I was like, okay, well, let's check this game out. Now they got a good understanding of what worker placement and all that stuff. Like I want to introduce my wife to viticulture, which is one of my favorite worker placement games. But she's like, I don't know. It sounds boring. I'm like, it's wine.
Maybe drink wine while you play it.
I think that's the thing, because we both don't drink.
Did she like Everdell, Dwayne?
Oh, she loves Everdell.
I haven't played that yet, so I need to get that to the
What?
table.
Okay, so now you can leave. Everdell is actually my favorite, like, just below advanced, like intermediate level, like beginner games, because it's super approachable, but then it has this amazing depth of play. Like how complex it can get is kind of like surprising once you really get into it. Like, and I don't know, like a big part of my background over the last couple of years has just been teaching games and teaching people who think that they can't understand complex games. That game has been one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever had, because they start playing it and they're like, oh, this is like easy, but it can get so deep. And then they just start diving into it. And it's a beautiful thing to watch. I've seen so many people, I've seen people literally jump into like playing Gloomhaven after trying that game. Like, just because they get the biggest difficulty I've found with people getting into board games is this feeling that, oh, like that's for nerds, and nerds are people who are way smarter than me. And it's like, that's not real. Like, you're making that
plenty
up.
of dumb nerds. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of games that fit everyone's lifestyle, because there's some people who don't really like heavy games, or they just want to, not have to think.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, it's
I
different.
like to make them think though. Make them think. Get them to the
that's-
harder
that-
games.
I like Roy Story Cubes, and it is just so cute. And
But I think that
simple.
like even like super easy games can still have really nice depth of play. Like Onitama. Like Onitama is a really simple, straightforward game.
Oh, I love Onitama.
Yeah.
But it's like
Oh,
the
yeah.
depth of play in that game is so great that you feel more confident moving into more complex games from it.
Yeah,
like
I
games that have,
mentioned
like,
this
nice
to Tim and Chris before. Like, I introduced Onitama to my uncle because he loves chess and he's trying to get his grandson to play chess. And I was like, well, he's not going to want to play because he's going to lose 50 times because you're good at chess. So here, try this, Onitama. And you got all the information right there in front of you. And more than likely, you're going to win the first couple, but then he's going to start understanding it. And it's going to be, whoever plays the best after that. So I try to, like I said, bring people in. Here's this nice game. Check it out. See what you think of it. And then they get to like enjoy it and be like, what else you got? Okay, cool. You've been roped in.
Got you.
I even have
Right.
all my extra Everdell boxes over here, right at my desk.
Now, have you tried the Spire Quest expansion with Everdell?
Oh, I've done the whole thing. Like
The whole
we got the
thing.
complete collector's edition.
Yeah, me too. That Spire Quest puts a lot more into Everdell.
I do too. Here, still in shrink.
Still-
Oh.
I haven't played it either.
All right, Marcus.
Neither have
All
I.
right, I'm out.
Okay.
I really
Everybody.
want to. I have 100,000 games.
Oh well, I mean,
For me, I've always been put off by the amount of text on cards. Like that's something I don't enjoy. Is that like a big part of it? The card.
well,
management?
so the first couple of times you go through it, it is really important because it's the tableau builder. So when you play a card, it's there and it's stuck unless you get another card that helps you. Like reading the cards is a big part of it the first few times, and then it's kind of
You recognize them.
well, you recognize them, but the fun of the game is searching through your head for combinations that are possible now that you've gotten things. And so once you know what the cards are and kind of what certain types of cards do, you can get away without paying too much attention to the text. But yeah, it takes like a game or two.
Okay. Are they all unique, the cards, or are they double ups?
There's double ups.
Yeah, they're duplicates. Each card gives you a little like hash mark on the bottom of like a tree that tells you how many like duplicates of that card there are. Like a lot of the effects are like the same effect, but with different specific like resources you get or things like that. They all kind of like are also thematically linked for specific strategies you could be working on. So they sort of make sense. Like this guy would, the wood carver would definitely work in the same place as like a shipwright. So they kind of benefit from each other, like things like that.
Okay. Yeah, all right. I'm listening.
Yeah.
You don't like text heavy games, Amy?
No, I really like things that keep people on the board together rather than like looking at their own like cards and not feeling like you have full information. I think that's what drags me out of it a little bit with the cards. I don't know.
Oh, you wouldn't like one of my favorite games, and probably one of my most played games every year is Innovation. And that's
Actually, I really like Innovation.
But that's all text.
I know it is, but it's so like it doesn't really matter because there's so many catastrophic events in that it's just like it's just utter chaos, that game. Like I love it. Yeah.
Okay,
It's
that's
more
what I
of
was
a
going to say. Because I was
contextual
going to say you probably wouldn't like it because that's all text, but I love
Yeah,
it.
it is. Yeah. Yeah.
That's another one that I haven't tried.
Really,
But,
Chris?
I've not tried it. That's a Carl Chuddick, right?
It is. It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's clever.
Okay.
I've heard it was good. I haven't tried it either.
Yeah, I'll come over and show you and Wendy one day. That's
I have a
All
copy.
of
I
the
have not
cards
tried
are-
it.
all the cards are like completely unbalanced. And that's what makes it amazing. It's just like, you're just like, what? That does what? And it's just like destroying your game. And but then you get an equally powerful card. So it's kind of,
I know, and that's the thing about it, right, Amy? Is it is a complete random, totally random game, and you would think that Euro gamers or people who don't like randomness would hate it, but I love it. It's
I agree.
Consistent insanity is consistent. So like consistency, if consistency is your thing, then like, that's the next card could completely change the game.
Yeah, that's true.
If I may, there's actually a really interesting thing that ties that back to Everdell, because there's one mini expansion for Everdell, which includes 3 cards. I think the character's name is Rotwart or something, and he's a rat. And these 3 effects on his cards are these insane effects that dramatically change the game and like take things from other players in some scenario, which is a thing that doesn't exist in the game otherwise. And it is one of the most unsettling things in the entire design philosophy of the game, because like one of them says something like that you just either swap hands with another player or that you take all of their resources. And if that happens to a new player at the beginning of the game, you can get completely shut out for the rest of the game, because it's not play tested against different scenarios. It's just like a random thing they came up with that they didn't use. And it's such an interesting thing how inconsistent chaos is like the absolute worst thing sometimes in a game. Like that card can only come up once, but if it comes up, that effect has to be huge because it's the only card that only exists once in that way. It's really weird.
Yeesh.
Yeah, I lost a game because of that card, so I always...
You're talking from experience, I see.
Oh, yeah. So it's funny hearing about a game where, you know, each card can dramatically change the entire nature of the game, and that being a good thing, versus where a few cards can ruin a game sometimes.
Yeah, and Carl Chuduk has made Glory to Rome, which is known for doing that, and what is his is a smaller one?
Red 7.
Red 7, okay, yeah. And so like he loves making those card games where you look at a card and you say, there's no way this does that. There's no way.
Right.
There's no way that card does that, you know, but it works somehow.
But also with him, and especially a game like Innovation, I don't know if you would agree, Amy, or anybody else has played it, is he's sort of he's divisive only to like BGG people, right? That you either love his games or hate his games, sort of. You know what I mean? Like especially with Innovation, you either love it or hate it. There's kind of no middle ground.
Well, I'm gonna have to give that one a shot because I've heard it mentioned a lot, you know, in the past. So I'm gonna give it a shot.
All right, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because there's still a lot of strategy there. Like you've got really overpowered cards, but you're still trying to work out which ones to score, which ones to play. Like there's a lot of different elements going on. It's not just overpowered cards and boom and then boom. You know, it's not just like this destroying each other. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it as well.
And one of my favorite things about board gaming in general that I love to do is I love to mitigate, right? When you feel you've hit a brick wall, how do you get out of it? Like, what are your options to try to get out of this, you know, enclosure, whatever, like mitigation. And that's what innovation is. It's constant mitigation, because you could be totally, you can be totally stymied and you're just, okay, how do I get out of this? How do I stop them? How do I fix this? You know, it's just constant trying to figure out.
Yeah, because when you play a card and it's completely overpowered, it's going to destroy your opponent. You actually need them to have certain cards in front of them as well for it to activate. And so they can see it coming and they can see that you're just going to keep doing it over and over again unless they change their setup. Yep. And so I guess that's why you can, start to mitigate and, kind of defend yourself.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I don't know what, when I heard you guys say overpowered cards, the game that popped in my head was Black Fleet. Has anybody ever played that one?
It's been a while. Is that the one where you go around in a circle where it's a boat race?
No, it's
that's Jamaican.
It's actually like, and for amazingly, the game was only $30, but it actually had metal coins and little boat miniatures. and it's a pick up and deliver game where you run a ship that's delivering goods, but you also run a pirate ship that's going around robbing other people's ships. And then there's 2 galleons from the British galleons that you can also move to take out other people's pirate ships. And the thing is, it has cards. Some cards would give you like an overpowered, like it's a bunch of islands on the board. So of course you can only go around the islands and everything of your movement, but you might have a card that says, oh, you can ride this tidal wave over this island. You know, and like I think there's like one card that says that, like, wait a minute, I can go through islands now. You know, so and it's like I said, it's a really good production wise for the price. Like I said, it's only $30, but it has metal coins.
Right.
You know? So I like pirate games. I love pirate games.
Well, it used to be $30. It's going for about 70 or 80 on eBay.
Really? Found out about those coins.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. When I first tried it out, I immediately went up and bought it, and it was $30. Now it's $70. Okay.
Yeah.
What happens?
It's like $80 to get it shipped. Yeah. It's a Space Cowboys game. Surprising.
Interesting.
Oh, yes.
You know, with
See if we have some.
on the topic of overpowered cards, like I don't mind an overpowered card, but you know what I hate is an overpowered character. Like when you've got asymmetric characters and one of them is just so much better than the others. Like we were playing Marco Polo 2 last night, and there is like a character that's quite overpowered in that. And that, like, then there's this debate about whether if you've got experienced players, then they know how to counteract that particular powerful character. But if you're playing with new people, they will just get steamrolled by that character.
Oh, really?
So,
Yeah, that reminds me of Doom. Has anybody played Doom?
No.
Yeah, there's like, so I don't know that much about the movie Doom, but the game, I guess everybody has the asymmetric powers, and they're like totally overpowered.
Yeah.
Like there's one faction that they can secretly vote on who's going to win the game. And if that person wins the game, they actually won the game.
Yeah. I think
crazy.
in the original rules even, and you can still play with them when you get the new version, I think that all currency goes, there's a person who owns all of the airships that go between the planets, and you are always paying them to use their ships to ship your stuff. So like this person kind of has to do nothing in that regard to get money because you're paying them for their service just because they're that player. And like you're trying to work against them because you want to be the most successful and wealthiest. And it's interesting, the insanity of something like that. It's like, I'm going to beat you by making more money, but here's 5 gold so you can ship my stuff to my...
Has anybody played Cosmic Encounter?
I play Cosmic Encounter, yeah.
Okay, is there a new
once.
one of that coming out soon?
Cosmic Encounter Duel they just made, yeah.
Yeah.
I just played it about 2 or 3 weeks ago for the very first time, and apparently that game was specifically made so every character is unbalanced. It's, like every character is a game breaker, sort of. So if we're all playing, we're all going to have a superly overpowered character.
well, that's okay if everybody has it.
That was a balance tactic for a good while. Like Hearthstone, the entirety of that was like, it's so random and ridiculous that everything's balanced. We don't have to do any more work. It's like, that's not how that works. But okay. They literally had a card where you like that's digital card games, but they had a card where when you played it, it played every spell that you had played up until that point with a random target. And you could have it set up to where it would do that and then resummon a guy who had that same effect and then play that guy again. And it would just do that back to back until someone died. Like you just trigger this combo that just goes until someone is randomly targeted to death. Wow.
There's a space dice game called Quantum, where all the cards are just broken. You just read it and go, no. And they all have nicknames. It's like one word that tells you what the card does. It's like, you're an overlord or something. It's like, okay. Actually, they're adjectives, so let's find something. Brilliant. So you get to do stuff. Like, okay.
Speaking of that, like, so is everybody familiar with what's it, Tapestry with Jamie Sedmeyer?
Yes.
So
yes.
speaking of overpowered, so because I had interviewed him and I asked him about that, like, so when the game came out, of course it's only BGG people, right? Because we're a whole nother thing on our own. But they found out that some of his civilizations were dramatically unbalanced, and it was just kind of weird how, you know, because he's a prolific game designer with, you know, Scythe and Viticulture, like great games and, you know, tons of play testing, how that was sort of missed or slipped through the crack. But it does also go to show you, right, and Marcus, you could probably answer this, that no matter how much you play test, there's just no way you can find everything, right?
It's just, so as much as you play test your game 1,000 times. The week it comes out, it's going to be played more times than you've ever played it. And something that only happens once every 10,000 times the game gets played, it's going to happen multiple times.
Right.
And people are going to write to you and like, the game's broken. It's like, it's not broken. You just found the exception.
The thing that I never thought to do.
Yeah. You're not supposed to do that. They're just like, oh, well, okay.
I mean, even Wingspan needed to make Wingspan revised. So.
Yeah.
Well, they had to fix all the brids.
Yeah.
The Brits. The Brits are coming. Is that what you're saying, Marcus?
Yeah, it had typos.
Yeah.
Oh,
it literally
okay.
said
Yeah, the brids, yeah.
B-R-I-D.
The brids. My copy has brids, yeah. Quite a few. Yeah, a game I've been streaming, Craftopia. Like, there's a thing where you're supposed to like go through this crazy RNG thing to make this special gear, like, or to make your armor. And it's supposed to take you X number of tries because it's all random and whatnot. Except that somehow whoever coded the automated smelter didn't check to see what happens, or it's the automated assembler that will assemble things for you. Didn't check to see what happens if you started a craft and then canceled it. And so instead of having to work super hard to make all of this special like ore, you can just clone one copy of a really good ore an infinite number of times just by opening and closing the crafting menu, like just 2 buttons. And it's like, how did no one catch that? How did no one just go, oops, that's not right, and see that the way that I did?
I remember that there was a similar type thing on one of the Super Nintendo Final Fantasy games I played as a kid. You know, you get a Mega Elixir, heal all your health and all your magic, and you would just you go to the menu, hit select, hit A, back out of it, and then you had an extra one. And so you just spend 10 minutes doing that, and you're like, cool,
yeah,
game's mine, I got this.
I can also have infinite money because I can sell those for a lot.
Yes.
Like
yeah. I mean, the good news is so this is one of those interesting things, right? I've been thinking about this because especially I feel like Stonemaier Games has been criticized about that a lot, right? With Tapestry, there's a lot of criticism about it. With Scythe, apparently, if there is a particular nation gets one of the like 14 particular bottom boards, it is people, as Tim says on Board Game Geek, people say it's unbeatable. Well, I'm sure that I've gotten that combo and lost because I'm terrible at Scythe, right?
I know the one you're talking about, and it's pretty rough when a person sees what they can do with it. But that's the other thing. It's like it's usually like a person has to be thinking in a very specific and competitive kind of way, and sometimes it's like an accidental thing when a person just is like trying to win. But there's definitely that thing.
I think it was a Few Acres of Snow, right? A Martin Wallace game that happened too. People found out afterwards it came out that there was a certain combination you had to get with cards, but it became unbeatable. Like it was like a serious broken thing. But like Marcus says, you know, the first week it comes out, it's going to be played more than you've ever play tested ever. So there's bound to be something found that you didn't know before, right?
Yeah.
So here's the funny thing to me about Stonemaier Games is those they came out with the Tapestry Civilization updates. You know, if you're this Civ playing 4 players, start with 30 points or something like that. if you're this thing, start with an extra resource or something. Would it be better for a company just to do nothing, or to put out a little update and say, hey, if you're that concerned about balance, here's a few things that we've learned from the 10,000 logged games people have sent us. It's almost like people have criticized him for changing things, whereas the other option would have been for him to say, tough nuts, like deal with it.
Homebrew it, whatever.
I don't know. It's a good question, Chris.
Well, I don't understand because so I still do dabble in video games. So I play a lot of Overwatch, and they're constantly putting patches on that game. And that game's been out 3 years now. And they're constantly putting patches, and they're constantly finding something. Oh, this character's too powerful, and they're fixing stuff. But I never heard anybody being critical of the video game company. So why be critical of Stonemaier when they put out this game? Of course, somebody might find something and they bring it to their attention. Now everybody's like, oh, you should have caught this. It's trial and error. Everybody's human.
Yeah, that's just the big difference. Because if I make a mistake in a board game, I can't ship you an update. I really don't want to.
Yeah,
right.
Cost for that. Yeah.
Tim, I don't know if you saw in the chat that
Sorry.
Lena has to step away.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Oh, no, I did not see. I'm sorry. I wasn't. So, yeah, Lena, you have to leave. So, a real.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. No, don't be sorry. Thank you for coming. But before you go, please just do me a favor and let everybody know, what you got going on, where they can see you, find you, and all your content and stuff.
Oh, right. So we are 3Gear Studios. Everything that we do is on our website, 3gearstudios.com. We, right now, I don't know. All our social media is 3Gear Studios. So that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we even have the TikTok. So we're on all the social medias and all of our events, whether it's the art events or gaming events. We do learn to play D&D, and we're going to do a live stream with our Halloween artist handmade goods and with our Halloween themed, or not really themed, but spooky board games that we think are good for Halloween. So we're going to do a live shopping video with that in October. So
Awesome.
yeah.
That's 3, like the number 3 gear.
The number
studios?
3Gear Studios.
3Gear Studios. Okay.
Yes, and you can always visit our shop. We're in the historic Savage Mill. It's kind of between DC and Baltimore. So.
All right, well, great. Well, thank you so much, Lena. It was very nice seeing you.
Thank you so
Nice
much
to
for
meet you.
having me.
Nice to meet you.
You guys have a good night.
All right, you
See
too.
you later.
See ya.
Bye.
Okay.
So yeah,
Everybody-
like we were
Go
saying
ahead.
earlier, just I would rather someone say like, well, here, like you can print out the sheet and here's some fixes, than to just say, thanks for buying my $60 game. See you later.
No, absolutely.
And also,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry, Tim. I was just gonna say, it also makes you feel like you're not crazy for noticing that, or like feeling like there was something going on. So I will always take the update.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say the exact same thing. That I think it's good because you're right. You don't want to feel like you're crazy. Like, am I the only one who notices
Yeah.
this is wrong?
Plus, if you're competitive, you're always going to, I will always take advantage of that. and then it becomes not fun at all. I had to ban myself from the character in Marco Polo too, for example, to try and challenge myself to win against it or in spite of it, without it.
Right. So listen, we got about a little bit more than a half hour because I got a little more 30 minutes. So what I'd like to also do is I'd like to try to and I guess Amy, if you don't mind, we'll start with you. What are some of the future plans maybe you have for content and stuff, and what you think you might want to take, or what your audience wants, what you want, what you just think you might be doing in the future?
I think that's a hard one to start with me. I feel like we're so new into this that we're still trying to actually get better at what we're already doing. So we don't have grand plans. We started dabbling on Facebook a little bit. I connected with some of you guys from last week and just kind of playing around on there to try and promote ourselves a bit more. I think that's one of the things, we're trying to work on our review content. Out of last week's conversation here, I heard a lot about when you're watching a review, you don't necessarily want a full playthrough. You don't want to know the ins and outs of the rules. And so I've been thinking about that a lot when I talk about my thinker mechanics element in a review. How do you give just enough detail so that then you can follow along with why we like it or not, but not recreate the rule book? And I think like when you're doing a review, what's easy is to have a structure where you do follow the rule book. So it's like really tempting to go too far into the detail. And so we've been working on that in our last few, and actually we had a really great response to some of our more recent videos, more viewers, the designer reaching out to us, so yeah, like really happy to have made those changes. But in terms of future plans, we're just trying to get that right and then get over that hurdle of like how you get traction with like more viewers and that kind of thing. Like, I'm not sure, then I guess I don't want to go into heaps of forums and start flogging them and getting kicked out because I'm doing all this like self-promotion. It's like, yeah, how do you naturally grow your audience once you get to that kind of curve of the first people?
I'll give you a hint. I don't know, have you, and maybe everybody has, because again, I'm brand new, or a lot of us are brand new. I think Chris has probably been doing it the longest, right? And stuff like that. And Rob probably as well. But so you guys may know about, but do you guys know about Tube Buddy, I think it's called?
No, it sounds like a thing I wouldn't want to know about, but go on, Tim.
No, but yes. So look it up. I don't know if it's free or you got to pay for it. And I think whatever it is, I think I did pay for it because again, it's one of those kind of things where it's free and you get like 10 of the 25 things. And if you pay like a nominal fee, you'll get all 25. But what it does, because again, I watched all those things, how to increase audience, how to do stuff. And what TubeBuddy does is help you with your SEO, with your tags. When I'm watching another video, it has like this, instead of just the recommended on the side, I'll be watching a video and on the side, it gives the analytics of the video I'm watching. Mm-hmm. And it'll give like how many views it has, this and that, and then it'll give all of their tags. You could copy the tags that they use.
Right.
So I found that tool is immense. TubeBuddy.
TubeBuddy. Okay.
Yeah, TUB.
I'll check that out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, I think all of the stuff that, especially me, I don't like paperwork and all that kind of stuff. That's sort of the most important kind of stuff it takes with YouTube, is getting behind the scenes, all that little nitty gritty, dirty stuff. You got to really do it, I think, to get that critical mass and get the ball rolling.
Okay. I think I just recently heard about that. And I was planning on checking it out like on my off day, Sunday, then I'll like go on and do some more research about TubeBuddy.
Yeah, it's got a built-in thumbnail generator, so you don't have to necessarily use Canva. I mean, I think Canva is fantastic, but it's got a built-in thumbnail generator with it too. But it's got a lot of really good stuff, and I think that'll help a lot, Amy. It helped me a lot, especially with the SEO and the tags and all those kind of things.
Nice, yeah, because I find that most of our traffic comes from BGG, not from YouTube, like organic searches in YouTube. So definitely need to look into that.
Yeah, and then it gives, what's really good is when you're doing your videos, it also gives you a checklist. So they call it like best practices. And like, it'll tell you, you've done 6 of 9 best practices.
Right.
And it'll, like things you should do and whatever. So it's fantastic.
Nice.
Okay, I might check it out.
All right. How about you, Chris?
So we've been putting out a few more playthroughs, and we're trying to nail down like what kind of camera and everything we want to do, so that we can do a few more live streams. Been getting down our software a little bit better, so we can change camera views and stuff midstream as well, because I want to do less editing in post. And so, like the very fancy, the Rodney Smith how to play videos where he changes from one area of the board to the other, we've got it set up so we can kind of do that live and actually click through and as we go ahead and teach the game and play through the game. So we want to try and have a few more of those. And then I think I'm going to be doing a few series of like top 5 lists, top 10 lists, because those inevitably oh, just, you know, just as a heads up, those inevitably are things that drive more traffic, because, and I don't know why, people just like them. People just
I like
say,
them.
yeah, I like them too.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but they just do drive up traffic. Having a top 5 or top 10 format, just, you can say a lot of different things in a relatively short amount of time, and so I think that's why people like them. So I've been trying to do a couple of different series on that, like top 5s per different publisher, and then I might go into like per different designers and stuff as well. So it's kind of what I'm working on.
Yeah, I've been watching you. You do your playthroughs, and you've been doing like 2 a day or something. No, you did like 2 different things a day, right?
No, definitely not that much.
No, wasn't it was it today or yesterday? You did like your Queen games at like 10 o'clock and something else at 1 o'clock. You did like 2 different things in the same day.
Oh yeah, like two different top 5 lists, because those are also easy, which is great. Don't have to set up a whole game, get the lights out. And, oh, okay, is there anything shiny off of here? Whatever. No, it's, you know, I just capture a PowerPoint presentation. I click through it. You know, it's up in the little corner. I talk. I like this game. Next, I like this game too. Easy stuff.
But it's good. And is this new for you, Chris?
It is, yeah. Because in the past, I've always had to try and do if I wanted to have like the board game cover pop up and say like, this is number 3. If I want any of that, I always had to do it in post-production. So we figured out how to actually make it so much easier to plan up front and then just film it live. I think that's kind of been a theme a lot of people are saying here. Film it once and just be done. So yeah, so that's why I'm able to do more, is because I don't have to do 3 hours of editing afterwards. So trying to get some more of that stuff out.
All right, we got Jazz, and it looks like Judge are going to be joining us too. They just asked if they can come in late, so they'll be coming in. How about you, Dwayne? What have you been doing new or trying?
Well, so I'm trying to find a balance between introducing the new hotness, but at the same time, the audience that I'm trying to reach is people that don't know that much about board games, that don't know all the board games that are out there, you know. So I try to like find a game that, you know, that's really simple, that's the hotness right now, but at the same time, still try to talk about a game that has been talked about in the past. You know, I'm also trying to do top 5s, because like I said, everybody loves top 10 and top 5s, but I'm trying to do mine like a little different. Like in my last video, I did top 5 board games in my collection where you play as the villain, you know, from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, no traitor aspect in the middle of the game. You know, a couple months ago, I did top 5 travel-inspired board games. You know, so I'm trying to think top 5s that have a little niche. You know, just not your basic like top 5 worker placement or something. Like top 5 games where you find yourself getting into character.
Right. Oh, cool.
You know, stuff like that. And so. And like I have been talking to my wife about, maybe we might start doing playthroughs, like of the games we love, and see how that goes. Right. And to study, like just figure out how this YouTube thing works. Like I said, biggest challenge is time, but you have to have the time to interact with your audience, you know, making sure when they comment, I comment, you know, but not a generic comment like, thanks for watching, just more so a little bit more personal. You know, I've never Twittered, you know, I always saw Twitter as like, hey, I'm eating a sandwich. Like, no, and I'm not going to do that, you know, but I realized that to a certain extent, I have to, you know, in order to build up traction.
All right, Dwayne. Just so you know, I feel good now because I don't look like a stupid old person. It's called tweeted, Dwayne.
I know tweet and twittered. I meant to say twittered. I did make. I don't Twitter. I meant to say that on purpose. I know it's tweet.
You're missing out on a lot. There's a lot of good board game Twitter stuff happening.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, real quick, I just want to say, so Jazz came in and Judge, right? That's what you like to be called?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, yeah, because we just see a picture there. We don't see your face there, but they're joining us late, Jazz and Judge. Thanks for coming in, guys. We're just going ahead. We're going around what we've been working on this past week and stuff. How about you, Bob?
Just a lot of streaming still. My week kind of got disrupted. Haven't been sleeping super well, because life.
Yeah.
But yeah, mostly just working on kind of changing up my art content, debating actual art live streams, which is a thing that I've dabbled in before, and just working on my schedule really. So doing my regular 11 to 7 Central streaming Monday through Friday. And then probably I'm going to start putting a lot more work into my YouTube over the weekend now that I have some more concrete ideas. And I'm probably going to start I'm hoping to do 2 videos a week. Probably a mix of board game and some of my other content. So.
Oh, nice. Very good. And how about you, Jazz? What have you been up to? What have you been working on this week?
Actually, Judge and I, it's our recording night tonight. We kind of got a little bit delayed earlier this week, but we're actually right now getting ready to talk about Cartographer's Heroes. I can prepare for this to drop
next week
on Tuesday. Yes, so we've got that coming. We've also got a video review for our YouTube channel that we're just kind of definitely much newer on the video YouTube than Maggie and Amy are over there. They definitely will be putting us to shame, but I'm going to be doing a review of that with my wife. But we got a chance to play it. Little sneak peek. It's great. I'll give you that. If you love cartographers, yeah, definitely got to check this one out.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we've been working on. And then we got a written review of that, and finally got a chance to try some other stuff. We got some reviews in the workout for Pendulum, so we're working on that one as well.
Pendulum's
but
fun.
Yeah.
All right. How about you, Marcus?
It's like board game stuff's kind of interesting. I've been working on my Frosthaven guest scenario for Isaac's Frosthaven. I finally got that to a place where I sent it off, and he's going to do whatever he does with that.
Oh, nice.
And otherwise, I'm on a Lovecraft Country review YouTube thing. Look, I'm not involved with the production. I just show up, I talk about the episode, and they do all the work. I have not had the time to carve out a niche YouTube following or video content creation. It's just, I got to get some other stuff done first.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Maybe one of these days.
Yeah, and in case everybody doesn't know, because I know he didn't mention it, but Marcus is also a publisher. So he's got a publishing company that he publishes. Yeah, and like he just spoke about, because he's not really talking about himself, but he's one of the guest designers for a scenario for Frosthaven, because Gloomhaven had the base campaigns, and then it opened up the extra campaigns. So Marcus for Frosthaven is doing one of those open campaigns, the ones that get opened up for Frosthaven.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's 30 people doing that. So, but I'm happy enough to be one of them. So.
Absolutely, nice. Man. That's fantastic. That's really good. One of the things that I wanted to talk about that I tried is so I tried this new series that I was doing called the Small Business Chronicles. Trying to
I saw that.
Saw that, yeah.
About the board game cafe, because I just want to anyway. But the thing I tried is I didn't promote it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I didn't Twittered, Dwayne.
There you go.
Let that man off the
hook. But I wanted to see the audience that I have, right? So it's one of those kind of things. I want to see if I have an audience for a reason, or if they like my content, if they're watching my content, if they're going to watch it with me not putting it anywhere else. I wanted to see the organic growth just from my YouTube subscribers, or maybe people on YouTube if they saw it somewhere else. I don't know how they would, but you know what I mean? So that was just my big experiment this week, is trying to see what my audience is doing without having to market or promote anywhere else.
How'd it go?
Okay.
Well,
It
that's
went-
something that
It went good. I think I got like maybe 160 views, 150. I mean, it's not like, thousands or whatever, but for me, that's fantastic. That's like really good. Especially again, since it's only, I would imagine, my subscribers who knew it was even up.
Yeah, and that was in like the first few hours, Tim. Like I noticed that because I was like, wow, he just posted that, and it's like got a lot of views. It's really great.
So that was my first thing, is trying to see, because then it's one of those kind of things. Now I'm just trying to figure this whole game out. So now, and then I want to try step by step. Okay, well, what if I just maybe do YouTube and Instagram? How many does that get? What if I do YouTube and Facebook? What does that generate? What if I tweet? So just to try to learn.
Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter. Just to try to learn where the audience is coming from, or who's seeing it, or why, so.
I watched the first one. I thought it was great.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. How about you, Ron?
So I do a little bit of everything. Jazz got me into the board game industry. And ever since I started playing with him, I was like, listen, he had this idea of a podcast, and I just kept bugging him like, bro, start your podcast, stop playing. And he was like, okay, help me. I'm like, oh, shoot. Okay, I'll help you, I guess. So on that realm, I work with him on that from the Hobby Lobbies. I'm also a music producer. I have my own business, Asteroid Music Productions. Just dropped 2 singles, one in February, one in July. We do a lot of R&B, pop, hip-hop, soul, like good organic 90s music, trying to bring it back. Tired of this music that don't make sense. So figured out we'd do something about it. Outside of that, that's really it. I'm just trying to put those 2 things together. Also do video games too. So I'm just taking all the hobbies that I love, and we just put it all together in the lobby of hobbies, as we call it, and just try to build a community of togetherness. I think that's the one thing that the world needs. And we have so many venues to do it, live concerts, board game conventions, all these conventions that people go to. I see people get together and nothing else matters. Race doesn't matter. Religion doesn't matter. All the one thing that matters is what you're there for. So seeing that, that's my biggest thing, that unity. So I see that board games does it a lot. Music does it a lot, and video gaming does it a lot. So that's why I chose those 3.
Oh, nice.
I loved listening about your foray into RPG.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, you told him that story, Jazz?
Oh, well, she actually listens to she contacted me back, Amy, when she listens to the podcast, yes.
Oh, yeah.
It was definitely fun. I know it's definitely something that we got into, and I will definitely be diving more into that a little bit more.
Absolutely.
So we know when Amy's ready to take the leap, we'll be messaging you. I think the time difference might be a struggle, but you will make it work.
Oh no, you're going to actually force me to play. I just wanted to hear about your experiences.
Yeah, it's great. I think it's something that everybody at least should try. I know for me, everybody was telling me, hey, give it a try. And I had a negative view of it in the beginning. I think it's the same thing as what I looked at board games, before I started, it was just a bunch of people, nerds getting together and doing stuff. And look, I became one of those nerds. And then I think from a RPG standpoint, when I would go to the board game shop, seeing people who were sitting, just there, talking and just playing this scenario out. I was never a big RPG video gamer. I know Judge was a big, Final Fantasy player, things like that. So he came from that video game RPG standpoint. But for me, I'm a big movie buff and TV buff. So I think from that aspect, I would just kind of played out what I would like to see in movies. I would say our game master said that everything went well. He really enjoyed it for first time players. He was really surprised how, first time players were able to just jump in and make it work. So I would definitely tell anybody just to give it a try.
Yeah, the addicting part is the creativity. If you're an artist in any way, shape, or form, it's easy to get addicted to. I mean, Jazz will tell you, we had some crazy conversations in the midst of our we went from a group of guys meeting in an arcade to hunting these weird creatures in the woods, and all I wanted was to, meet this girl Jennifer, who was the hottest girl in town. So we went from that to juvie hunting, whatever a juvie is. So it went from 13-year-olds in a 1980s, was it 1980s, was it?
Yeah, 1980s arcade to
we went from Stranger Things all the way to the Goonies, and then ended back up in the mystery game at the end. Pretty fun.
That's awesome. What system were you playing?
Kids on Bikes.
Kids on Bikes. That's what it sounds like. Awesome.
Yeah, it was, just for first time players, I reached out to some people on the different board game communities on Facebook. I said, hey, I'm interested in giving it a try. What should I try as a newbie? They said, try this out. It's the easiest system to learn. And then if you like it, give something else a try. So I've been talked into giving D&D a try. So that's the next thing. And honestly, I probably think I'll stop there. I can't take on too many hobbies, but yeah, it was fun.
Okay.
I feel like there's sorry, Chris.
No, please go for it.
I was just going to say, like, the overlap of like the tabletop gaming and the strategy board games is becoming more and more apparent, I think, with the inclusion of more miniatures in board games. Like, I think that the adjacencies in board gaming are getting kind of creeping in at the edges. And like, I, during COVID have attempted to start painting, and I would never have normally done that. But because you're buying like Blood Rage and Rising Sun, it's coming with all these miniatures. It's kind of like, maybe I could get into RPG. Like, I don't know, maybe, but it feels like there's more gateways to that now.
Oh yeah,
board game.
I told myself that I was going to get into painting my miniatures for Blood Rage and for all these games. And I even went out, I bought the paint, I want to say 2 years ago. It's still sitting untouched. I just get scared. I just admire everybody else's paintings. And it's just, I know my wife is more of the artist, right now she's in her master's program. So she said, when I'm done, I will definitely give it a try with you. I've never painted anything on that scale before, but we'll give it a try. I'm newbie, so it'll probably come out like my 1.5-year-old daughter's, stuff that she makes in daycare.
So here's the thing that I learned, because Wendy, my wife, is the one of us that got into painting, and it all started with, of all, heavy thematic plastic-filled games, was of Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar, because of the gears.
Oh
yes.
Yeah.
Oh wow. I didn't think of painting them. Sorry.
Oh, you should.
Oh, you must. I've looked at some pictures, and it's got me. That's kind of got me wanting to paint it as well.
Amy, you painted the obelisk. Why would you?
I know, I did the obelisk. I don't know. I just didn't even think of it. I don't particularly like that game very much, but I mean, it's there. It's right there on the shelf. I'll paint it.
What's that? Tekenu or Tzolk'in?
Tzolk'in.
You don't like?
I love Tekenu. No, I don't like Tzolk'in.
Oh, you don't? Oh, that's
okay.
Controversial.
What about
miniatures?
Yes, very controversial.
about miniatures, I wanted to ask because I'm not really a components guy per se when it comes to games. I do have to admit though, like when I first learned Agricola, Rob. When I first learned Agricola,
you made him leave.
He's gone.
When I first learned Agricola, it just had like the discs and the cubes for everything. And I do like the animeeples, right? And the vegetables and stuff. So I do like that. But like when you're playing like Rising Sun or a game with miniatures, yeah, when you see the card on the card, you're like, oh, if I play that card or whatever, I'll get that miniature. It looks cool. But for me, this is just me. Once I put them on the board, it doesn't really do anything for me. Do you guys like look at them? Like, do they still like, you know what I mean? After you play them, what does it do?
I feel like it's like putting your own stamp on the game and personalizing. That's the main thing it does for me. It's like, this feels like my set now.
Yeah.
But also it's just a way to pass time and try something different more than anything.
No, that's true. But I'm just wondering in general, like if people are really into miniatures, like when you play, are you constantly throughout the game admiring the miniature and like, seeing it as a real character, like if it's an RPG and imagining it, doing
Not for me.
or whatever.
Yeah, not for me.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think the miniatures are pretty cool just on the fact of looking at them. But when I'm playing it, I think, Tim, I'm the same way as you. I'm looking at the cards more, say, and where do these things go? It could be a standee for me. I think what's cool about it is the fact that it just has table presence. And I like the idea that, someone walks by and they're like, hey, that looks pretty cool. Like I've had people in my family who've walked by us playing Blood Rage. They came in to visit, and next thing you know, my wife's like, oh, he's downstairs playing with some friends, and there's Blood Rage on the table. Like, and then after everybody, my friends leave, the first thing they say is, oh, what's that game? That's interesting. I want to give it a try just because of the table presence. But like I said, for me, it could be a standee, or, it could be a dime or a nickel moving around the board. It really doesn't matter.
Just a brown cube.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rob. Rob.
So Jazz,
What happened?
Really quick, the important thing about painting miniatures and painting plastics and stuff in games that we learned is it is, I would say 75%, do you know like a few main techniques, right?
Yes.
Dry brushing, washes, and priming, probably like the only three things. If you can do that, 75% of it, and if you can color match, like this thing is supposed to be blue, which one of these is blue?
Yes.
Like you'll probably be fine.
All right, good. I'm good with those things. So.
Yeah, and if you don't know what a wash is or a dry brush technique is, like just once again, YouTube. Go to
so
YouTube.
many YouTube. Good
yeah,
YouTube
definitely.
channels on painting.
I think I lucked out. We have a friend from my local game shop who at PAX Unplugged, this recent PAX Unplugged, he was the one teaching two of the painting classes there. I didn't get a chance to go to it just because I was busy doing other stuff and working with Van Ryder Games. But other than that, he said, whenever you get a chance, just let me know and we'll get together and do something. So I know before COVID, he was trying to start up a painting class at our local game shop. So I know that I would definitely be taking advantage of him.
It's super relaxing.
That's what I hear.
It's really good for mindfulness.
So Amy, was this something that you picked up during the pandemic, or were you starting prior to? Okay.
No, it was just, when you're going through all the different arts and crafts and you're like ticking them off one by one and there's only so many puzzles that you can do. It's just like, oh no, we tried crocheting and we were so bad at it. So bad that I had to give away everything that we bought. And then, because we've been at 6 months in pretty strict lockdown here in Melbourne. And then we just came across the Reaper Bones kits that are like, beginner, teach yourself. They include the miniatures, a couple of paintbrushes, and all the paint you need to paint them. And started there, and then we're like, this is amazing. And then bought the next kit, then bought 500 paints and really expensive paintbrushes and everything else.
I mean, at least you're just painting the miniatures that come with your games. Have you gotten to the point of 3D printing things for games that don't have miniatures?
I now have 2 3D printers, Marcus. So,
well, never mind. Congratulations.
Marcus eats those words pretty quick.
You have a real hobby.
Yeah.
Well, it's too bad you gave up.
Hobbies.
It is too bad that you gave up crocheting though, because you could have gotten that, that frost giant in Blood Rage, like a nice sweater. Nice
there you
little
go.
cozy a jumper and scarf,
Have you started?
I watched so many YouTubes. Sorry.
Have you started making inserts, Amy?
Yes, I have started printing inserts. That was one of the main reasons. Yeah, little
nice.
components. I just did Heaven and Ale.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, exciting. Oh, I printed little little strudels and stuff for Grand Austria Hotel.
Oh, did you really?
Coffee cups. Yeah. I painted them.
I love Grand Austria Hotel.
Oh, that's one I'm still waiting to give a try. I hear so many great things about it.
I'm actually supposed to play that tomorrow night.
You're going to love it, Dwayne.
Nice. It's really good.
I think, and if you haven't got it yet, I think October 22nd is the Kickstarter.
Ooh.
Yeah, the Waltz expansion, but also a deluxe kind of base kit.
Oh, when's the date?
I think it's October 22nd, but I need to look it up now. But it's towards the end of October, I think.
Yep, I'll be getting that so I can put it up on my shelf in shrink wrapp. So.
Keep it in pristine condition.
That's why I have my doors closed, because I have so many things that are shrinked.
You too. I don't even want to talk about how many things I have in shrink right now.
I did a count. It's 36 games unplayed, and of those 36, I want to say 30 of them are still in shrink.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Whoa,
right,
that's a backlog.
Whoa.
All right, confession time. Let's go through everybody. I have a copy of Sushi Go Party in shrink because we bought it literally weeks before all the lockdowns. I can't bring myself to open it up for just 2 players. So I think there's that. I think that might be the only. I mean, we have like a few, like 2 review copies of games still in shrink. So I think we're at 3.
Oh, all right.
Everyone else?
I have one game that I won in a raffle. I've never played it. It's still in shrink, and that is 7 Wonders.
Oh,
Oh,
Wow.
wow, collective gasp.
I know, right?
That's pretty painful to hear.
The
man.
reprint just came out. It's phenomenal. Ah.
Dwayne
That
just
is-
broke the show.
That is something that's another thing I would like to do for my channel is call a series called Late to the Game.
Oh,
I like that. I like that.
So I got, like I said, I got into board game hobby 2014 and I just hit the ground running, moving forward. But there's some games that I've just ran past. And I'm in there, ooh shiny, ooh shiny, ooh shiny,
Yeah.
you know. So there are games that I have not played that are like the granddaddies of games. I mean, I just recently played Castles of Burgundy for the first time, which
so good.
I love. It's such a great game.
It
But
is.
there's some games that I have not played that will get the response like what I just got when I said 7 Wonders.
Oh, we
Yeah.
all have. We all have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't
Can't
until
play every-
it wasn't until this February where Tim finally taught me his favorite game, Agricola.
Aggravated cola.
So listen, guys, real quick. So we got about we got a little bit of time left. So I want to make sure we go around and everybody just please give all the details where everybody can see you, where they can find you, your channels, what you work on, and all that kind of stuff. And we'll go ahead and start with Amy.
My channel is ThinkerThemer on YouTube with my partner Maggie. We review games from 2 different perspectives, mechanics and theme, and we argue a little bit about that right on the channel. So if you want to see that, you can go to thinkerthemer.com, which redirects to our YouTube page. Thank you.
Nice, very good. Marcus?
Yeah, I'm Marcus Ross. You can find me mostly on Twitter at Marcus Ross or at Waterbear Games. Easiest way to get a hold of me.
Nice.
Chris?
Chris from Meepleoverboard, a weekly podcast that posts up every Saturday, as well as our YouTube channel. So just go search Meepleoverboard.
Judge?
Ronald Judge, music producer, new board gamer, brand new board gamer, video gamer. You can find me at Asteroid Music, muziq.com.
Okay, Jazz?
I am Jazz Cruz, and I am one of the co-founders of the Lobby of Hobbies podcast. You can find our podcast at anchor.fm/Lobby of Hobbies. You can actually listen to whatever platform is your podcatcher. You can actually find everything there. You can also find us on Facebook. If you just search in the Lobby of Hobbies, you'll come up to our page, which is the Lobby of Hobbies podcast. You'll also find our game group, the Lobby of Hobbies game group. We're on Instagram and Twitter at Lobby of Hobbies, and we have a website, the Lobby of Hobbies.wixsite.com/home.
All right, very good. Dwayne?
I'm Dwayne. I have a small YouTube channel called Blackboard Gaming, where I chronicle teaching my wife how to play certain board games, at the same time showing people, hey, giving them an invitation to introduce these board games to their family and friends.
All right, thank you. Rob?
I'm Rob, Galactick Kodiak on pretty much everything, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, mostly streaming Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central Time, solid 8 hours, pretty much every day of me talking and listening to smooth jazz. So come and enjoy that.
Very good. All right, and my name is Tim, and you can find at Meepleville channel on YouTube, and Twitter and Instagram, Facebook as well, Meepleville there. But thank you all for joining us. It was a wonderful night. If anybody has any recommendations or anybody they'd like to join us, feel free to let me know. Amy, if you have friends there in Australia.
Just us.
Just you. You two in the whole country. That's it.
A lot of space to yourselves.
Just send me an email and let me know. But again, thank you all for joining. We got a wonderful group. I took away a lot of stuff, and there's still a lot more stuff, but it's good that we're all helping each other, right? I think we got a great community, and just keep supporting each other.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Great to talk to you all.
Yeah,
Thanks so much, guys. Have a good one.
See you guys
See you
later.
all next week.
See ya.